Hey there everyone, what's up? It's me, Buffalo Staple. Been long overdue for a roundup video, and I've been putting it off for ages, because they're just a bit exhausting to make in my opinion, so, I'm gonna do it now. But I went big on this one. I went overly ambitiously huge on this one. I have gathered a giant list of like every album I've listened to this year that I haven't reviewed. Everything I haven't given an album review is on this list, and I'm going to be talking about it in this video. I've ranked them all from worst to best, so we're going to start at the worst and go to the best. I thought it was kind of fun, and this is going to take forever, but fuck it, get comfy, get some snacks. I'll give you a second, man. Cool? Alright, sweet. Let's just begin at the worst. I have a thing here. Hold on one sec. There we go. Okay, so at the worst, we have Lil Xan. Total Xanarchy. Don't really need to go into much detail on this one. Just nothing about it is enjoyable. There's not 1 ounce of fun to be had here. It's just all torture. So, yeah, 0. Yeah, Post Malone now. Really boring shit. A lot of people seem to like this. I can't really derive much from it at all. It's just an empty void of boredom for me. It feels like it goes on for 3 days when it's like an hour long. Every song feels like the same shit to me. Post Malone has like no character at all, and the beats are just the most dime a dozen shit. Tory Lanez up next. Reviewed that on Sloth Windowcrest. I'm including the Sloth Windowcrest reviews as well in this list, because obviously the podcasts don't really get as much views as the reviews do, which makes sense because they're longer and stuff. So yeah, just in case you missed those, I've included the albums I reviewed on there in this list too. And Tory Lanez, we reviewed that on episode 2. That was cool. Fall Out Boy, Mania, very obnoxious, very overly glossy, and so grating. Harry Hudson, this is the worst fusion of country and pop you could ever imagine. Stay the fuck away from this. It is painful. We're in the 3s now. Next up, I got Underoath with Erase Me. This is the cringiest shit known to man. After that, it is Clairo with Diary 01. This thing is so lol hashtag relatable. It's like the best way I could put it. It's like just really, really bland Tumblr bedroom pop, lo-fi bedroom, whatever the fuck you want to call it. There's nothing interesting at all about this. It's pretty awful. Justin Timberlake is up next. Man of the Woods. Yeah, let me just... Okay. So this is also a pretty terrible country pop blend right here. Did me mentioning this album right now in this video remind you that it exists? It did, didn't it? Yeah. Alright, moving on. xxxtentacion with question mark. We reviewed this on Sloth Windowcrest as well, episode 3. 6ix9ine's up next. Yeah, it's unbelievably obnoxious and one-dimensional. Although I still stand by Bubba being a pretty decent track. If I'm in the right mood, I can enjoy Bubba, but that's it. That's like a 1 minute 50-second long song. Outside of that, it's just torture. Dessa with Chime. This is so drowning in melodrama, it fucking annoys me. Wiley is up next with Godfather 2. Luckily, this wasn't a huge letdown for me like it was for everyone else, because obviously I'm not really big on Godfather 1. Now it's just less consistent. But it's pretty much on the same level of quality, really, as the first Godfather, just a slight notch down. Lil Baby, Harder Than Ever. Dude, this dude is not cut out for the rap. This dude should stop rapping. He is terrible at rapping. But whatever. Swaecation, Disc 2 from Shrem is up next. Swae Lee is a really hit-or-miss singer. Like, there are so many moments where he really tries to reach certain notes that he's just not capable of doing, and it's just horrible. But there were a few decent beats, I guess. That's about it. J-Rock is up next. Crushing letdown right here. This thing was so lifeless. There was no pulse to any of this. It was just completely drab the whole time. And the lyricism is so surface level it hurts. Black Dresses with Waist Isolation is after that. Some of the worst singing I've heard all fucking year. Horrible singing on this thing. And the industrial approach to the production doesn't really complement that very well. Princess Nokia. Which, again, also some of the worst singing of the year applies to this one as well. But now we're in the 4s. Let me change that. Next up, it is Shopping with The Official Body. Completely lifeless post-punk, I think. I don't know, it's been a while since I've heard it, but it was boring. Ski Master Slump God. Not really a fan of his style at all. He comes off really grating to me. His beats are like nails on a chalkboard level grating, and his just like super constantly goofy voice with disorienting flows, really skittery kind of, it just fucking annoys me. Rich the Kid, after that, really generic trap album. Nowhere near as, okay, Ski Mask is definitely more unique. Rich the Kid's album is a lot more just by the numbers, but I don't know, it was just less annoying. They're about on the same level, but yeah, whatever. Drooper, is up next. Nothing happened this whole album. It's like 21 minutes and it feels like 4 hours. And I get that's the point. It's like ambient. It's supposed to be like relaxing and not like, but in this case, no, it was too much. Shut with Pure Beauty. The first track was kind of cool, but the beats in this thing are horrid. And that last track did not need to be so long. Loma, one of the most nondescript and characterless albums I've heard all year personally. Didn't really get anything out of it. Nothing really happened the whole time to me. It was just all completely bland and just flat. Nils Frahm is the same, but occasionally it was pretty beautiful. But for the most part, it was just kind of boring. It was way too long as well. Kacey Musgraves, another country pop fusion I just don't really care for, but the first couple tracks are pretty catchy, but yeah, I'm not into this. Now we're into the fives. Hold up. 5. Tom Misch. Geography. This dude's voice is so corny, but his production ain't too bad, so it's whatever. Ezra Furman, Transangelic Exodus. I actually recorded a review for this. Ages ago. Probably still on the hard drive, but fuck editing it. I just can't be. Who cares about this album? Like, who really gives a shit about this album? Some of his vocal performances on this thing are some of the funniest shit I've heard all year. He goes really over the top sometimes, and it completely contradicts some of the shit he's saying. I didn't really get much from it. Scarlord with Doom. This was bad, but there is something really weirdly alluring to like this weird screamo, like fucking trap shit. Like I can enjoy it kinda in just small doses, but it's really one-dimensional. Borns with Blue Madonna. What the fuck happened on this album again? I have not heard this since it came out, which was in January. But I have it as a 5 listed right here. I remember I was playing Darksiders 2 while I was listening to this, and there were a few pretty catchy songs. It wasn't terrible. But for the most part, it was just kind of stagnant of anything remotely exciting, really. So, yeah, 5 out of 10, I guess. Melody's Echo Chamber with Bon Voyage. This thing is a train wreck, but it has got some creative ideas, so I'll give it that. But the way it's executed is just a mess. Phobophobes with Miniature World. There were some grooves on this thing, but it didn't really have much in the way of creativity. Again, another one of those. Anderson East Encore also falls in that. Like, there are some catchy, explosive moments when this guy, Anderson East, when he wants to, like, go for a massive hook. He knows what he's doing, but the subject matter and the way it's executed, it's just kind of samey the whole time, and Girlfriend was really corny too. Cameron Bahani. Some of the beat choices on this album were fucking awesome. I like how he is showing that he can tackle a multitude of different approaches to rap, but I don't think it came together in a very well-focused way. It felt a bit aimless, and I feel like this dude is always... He raps in a way that I feel like he's always trying to convince me that he's a good rapper, if that makes sense. Yeah, he raps in a way to where he kind of sounds like he's above the idea of rapping, and he's like rapping in a way that kind of is trying to prove how good of a rapper he is. And if that makes any sense, I don't know, Eminem does that sometimes too, if that makes sense, but yeah, that kind of just pisses me off. But generally, musically, this thing's pretty creative, so I'm definitely interested to hear more from this guy. But yeah, just his rapping approach doesn't always, interest me. And it's a bit directionless, but potential. Portal up next. The mixing on this thing sucks, but it is really ferocious and wild, and I can appreciate it just for like an adrenaline rush, but it's just a bit shoddy in its sound, and I don't really care for that. So it seems like I glossed over quite a few when I was recording, so I'll just cover them quickly right now. Dream Wife self-titled, 5 out of 10. Pretty much just like off-brand savages. Kira Kira Benito, Totep. This EP is pretty interesting. I like the direction they're taking the sound in, but I don't really think it was explored to a satisfying degree on this particular EP, but I'm really interested to see where they take it in the future. Only Acting is pretty great though. Czarface meets Metalface. There is no reason why this album should not be fucking awesome, because everyone involved is like supremely talented and has made fantastic music in the past, but for some reason, everyone just half-assed it. No one was trying their hardest on this thing, which is a shame. No one was really giving it the rule, I don't think. Everyone just kind of sounded like they were just sort of half-assing the job, and it just resulted in a pretty mediocre rap album, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. And then finally we got Porches with The House. Pretty decent instrumentals, but the singing really kills it for me. So yeah, 5 out of 10 for all of those. Cool, on with the video. The Weeknd, I like The Weeknd a lot as a singer, and Call Out My Name is great, but like, he is running so low on ideas, man. We've heard this shit so much. It's just like, bro, think of something new. Call Out My Name though, appreciate the Nicholas Jar sample, and the way the hook, the way he just explodes, is pretty sick. Oceans of Slumber, The Banished World. Instrumentally, this thing is like a 7, but the singing is, I don't know if I like it. I'm really conflicted, but there are some fucking awesome moments. It's a pretty sweet metal album. I think this is worth a try if you're like a metal fan. This is worth a shot, but the vocals weren't always for me, and it did really get in the way of my enjoyment of some tracks. But the first track was fucking cool, and instrumentally there were some explosive moments, but it's a bit long too. Generally, I'm conflicted. It's a 5. I'm indifferent, but you know, it's worth a shot. The Spook School, could it be different? The first half was awful, but the second half was kind of sick, so it just kind of rounds out at a 5. There were some fucking catchy grooves on the second half, but the first half was just boring. Bahamas with Earth Tones. This should have been actually, I should have put this as a 4. This one was just bad. The lead singer just felt really unconfident the whole time to me. Puya with 5-5. What a surprise, it's a 5 out of 10. I just don't care for this, like, Suicide Boys kind of rapping style where it's like the same tone, just yelling every fucking line. And some of the hooks on this album were just fucking annoying, especially on track 2. The Garden with Mirror Might Steal Your Charm. What the fuck was this? This was fucking crazy. I'm actually kind of tempted to maybe bring this up to a 6 because it was just so nuts that it kind of sticks out in my mind a little bit more than most of these more kind of boring albums. But it was just a bit, I don't know, shit. Like, it just felt a bit underdeveloped. Like, the ideas here were sick though. I might have to come back to this. I think it might grow on me. So a lot of these are first impressions, to be fair. You know, a lot of music comes out. I can't spend dedicated time to all of it, so please know that. You know, please be aware of that. But yeah, it was unique. I'll definitely give it that. Kill Chofer next up with the Book Room. 20 tracks of pretty interesting electronic music, but I feel like the sonic palette on this thing is really not that wide. It's a bit samey. But there are some pretty awesome drum patterns here or there. It's kind of cool. But it's a bit bloated, and it didn't really excite me that much, but it's worth a look. Bambara. This album was spooky, but a bit unexceptional. It was just a bit undistinct. Like, it didn't really... It created a great atmosphere, but that was about it. It didn't really reach much further than that. And I can say the same thing for the next album, Lana Del Rabies. I forget what the name of this one was, but yeah, this one too. Really creepy shit, but like, it didn't really excite me beyond that. It was just a really nice, spooky atmosphere for 40 odd minutes, and it was cool. But you know, whatever. Preoccupations, what a letdown. Fuck, man, this is nowhere near as creative as the debut. The self-titled Preoccupation, that was a really cutting-edge approach to post-punk. This is the most safe shit ever. There are a few decent hooks, but like, fuck, man, this thing was just safe as hell, and the production is just really inconsistent on this thing. Kyle, up next with Light of Mine. Way too sugary, way too poppy, way too corny. This dude is really corny. But tracks 3 to 5, that 3-track run is fucking sick. So that saves it a lot. He's a decent singer. I didn't expect him to be so good at singing. He's actually got a really good sense of melody, so that's pretty cool. But generally, it's way too sugary for me. Beach House with 7. Yeah, you can keep this one. This one's boring as fuck. This thing is, everyone's like, yo, they're taking the sound in a new direction. This is the most fucking stagnant thing they've ever released. This thing is so unbelievably faceless. It's pretty decent background music, but yeah, this thing was boring as fuck. I mean, I guess there are a few decent builds, and like the crescendo on Dive is cool, but it totally fizzles out at the end, making it feel completely inconsequential. Oh my god, Drunk in LA too. Drunk in LA, like the lyrics in that song are just shit. The story that is told in that song just made my eyes roll. Whatever. Also, track 2 is such a slog. And Dark Spring, okay, Dark Spring and the last track are decent. I'm trying to think. Oh, Lemon Glow. I like Lemon Glow. The guitar on that song is tight. And also the overuse of reverb is fucking pissing me off. I'm with you on that one, Ryan. That shit is just getting super old, but yeah, it's whatever. Palm with Rock Island, I think it was called. Yeah, okay, their style is different, but I can't really get much out of it. It's different. I like how they purposely go against traditional time signatures, and they kind of just fuck around with the groove in really weird, rigid ways, and it kind of pissed me off to a certain point. But there were a few times where it was done in a really good way, and it made for a fucking awesome, just off-kilter type shit. It was occasionally well executed, but for the most part, it just kind of got on my nerves just how unorganized everything sounded, but whatever. Jimtro, third disc from Shram. Just, look, Slim Jimmy is such a charismatic rapper. It pisses me off for him to make such a safe album with really awful production. Especially on that second track, that beat was disgusting. Yeah, so that's whatever. Anyway, we're into the 6s. Yeah, now we're into the 6s. What the fuck? First Aid Kit with Ruins. Yeah, this isn't really a sound for me, but it's not bad. It was decent. The singing's pretty solid. There were some catchy songs, but it's whatever. I don't really see myself returning to it. A Grave with No Name, Passover. There were this thing was occasionally a bit too melodramatic again, but like when this thing hit, it was gorgeous. There were some fucking gorgeous songs on this thing. Could have been trimmed down too, but generally I enjoyed it. Scallop's Hotel with Sovereign Nose on Your Arrogant Face. Lo-fi beats like this, like lo-fi hip-hop beats to study to or whatever, that kind of sound is not really for me at all, and that didn't really pull me in like that, but the bars on this thing were fine. I really enjoyed Milo's lyricism, especially on that last track where he had that line about the Pac-Man pie chart. That shit was fucking amazing. There were some solid beats. Tracks 3 and 4 had great instrumentals, but the very half-baked feel of it all does kind of wane on my enjoyment, but generally I didn't really mind it. I thought it was alright. Ephraim Manuel Minuk with whatever the fuck this album was called. I forget what it was called, but it's I believe this guy's a member of the band Silver Mount Zion. Very atmospheric, really textured. It's just a bit bloated and a bit sluggish in its pace, but generally, for what it's going for, it was pretty solid. Cardi B, Invasion of Privacy, reviewed this on Sloth Wintercrest. Mark Pritchard with The Four Worlds. What the fuck was the pace of it? The pace of this album was a mess. Way too all over the place, but that opening track was pretty stunning. And there were some really gorgeous moments of sound play, but generally this thing was really awkwardly paced. Kurang Bin was lovely, but it was very clearly just background music for me. It was just some nice background music. Didn't really excite me beyond that. So 6 out of 10. Sango with In the Comfort Of, reviewed this as well on Sloth Wintercrest, episode 3, I believe. Ray Morris, I forget the name of this one, fuck. It's a pretty vibrant and colourful pop album. Yeah, I think it was a bit long, but it had some sick ideas. And there were a few tracks where they were a little bit too poppy for me, but generally as far as pop music goes, this thing is up there. It's not too bad. Cos with Affected. What the fuck was Freaky 45, bro? That song, when I realized what that was about, I was like, yeah, no. Some of the beats are okay, but generally it's fine. Serpent with Feet with Soil. I was really excited for this, but this whole thing is way too one-dimensional, man. I do appreciate some of the very passionate and nuanced approaches to tackling love. I think he pulls that off really great with his voice. His voice is so fucking fragile. I love it, even though he does kind of overuse the whole vibrato thing a little bit. Musically, the palette on this thing, it's a bit too safe. It's just some, like, kind of rigid, trudging along drums with like some electronic shit, and he's singing in a vibrato. Like, you can kind of boil every song here down to a formula, down to a science. It gets a bit played out to me to a certain point, but the song Waft, Cherubim, the final track, and Whisper, those 4 songs, fucking nice. So props there. Johnny Jewel with Digital Rain. Some pretty sick ambient music. The pace of the sound's odd, but like, yeah, some of this shit was gorgeous. There was some really beautiful moments on this thing. So hey, that's pretty cool. Bishop Nehru. With Elevators Act 1 and 2. It annoys me how not great this album is. It really should be great. You have MF Doom and Kaytranada on production for every song. And you're a good rapper. Bishop Nehru is a good rapper. He's got bars. This should be awesome, but it's just not. And it's annoying. But that Cowboy Bebop line, like, end your shit off with a bang like Bebop, that was fucking crazy. I love you for that. Alina Baraz, The Color of You. Pretty safe album. It's just some nice, smooth R&B pop shit, but it's well done. It's well executed. Like, she's a great singer, and the production here sounds fucking gorgeous. It's just a bit safe. It's not really pushing the envelope at all. So hey, it is what it is. But it's like 9 tracks, like 30 minutes, 31 minutes, I think. Some gorgeous songs here, but generally, it's fine. Parquet Courts with Wide Awake. Now, people love this album, man. People are fucking loving this. But for me, it's just the lead singer. That's it. That's literally just the only thing. I think lyrically, they bring up some seriously compelling things. And the perspectives they bring to a lot of, like, political, difficult arguments is genuinely interesting. And instrumentally, this thing is groovy and funky as hell. Even if it is pretty standard indie rock. Like, when you look at what this album's offering from a musical perspective, it's just some indie rock, and it's funky, it's cool. I like the title track on this album a lot. I think that's a really great song. But this guy's voice, it annoys me so much. I hate his voice. He's just hollering the whole fucking time, and it fucking pisses me off. Like, Violence is intolerable to me. That song, I can't stand it. He's just yelling constantly, and when just me being me, just listening to it, I can't ignore it. I can't just get used to it. I've tried so much. His voice... I've never listened to Parquet Courts before. It's my first Parquet Courts album, so I was not aware that this was his style or anything, but, like, his vocals just aggravate me the whole time, and I can't give it any... I can't. I can't go any higher than 6, bro. It's good. I appreciate it. I get the praise, but I cannot enjoy it, personally. And that's the same thing for this next album too, Ort, Room Inside the World. Musically, it's rich, detailed. Lyrically, it's passionate, it's lovely. But his voice bro, why does he sound like that? He's always like, people stay, the people know the desire merits this, and it's just like, shut the fuck, like he's just doing this weird thing with his voice the whole time, and it sounds so fucking obnoxious. I can't get over it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on those two. Good albums, Room Inside the World and Wide Awake. I think they're great albums, objectively. It's just the lead singer. I can't get into it. Hop Along. I reviewed this on Rewind Reviews' channel. Go look up Rewind Reviews. We did a collab review. That went over pretty well, so if you want to hear my thoughts on that, bam, there you go. So that is what's going on with that one. A Place to Bury Strangers. Forgot completely what the name of this one was. Heard it a couple times. This thing was pretty great to listen to at nighttime. It was pretty scary. It created for a great atmosphere, but like not really much beyond that. I should probably shut the window. Twin Shadow with Kea. Some sick grooves on this thing, but it's just a bit, again, it's a bit safe. It's just a bit unmemorable, but there were some slick grooves, so that's pretty cool. Ash Kusha with Actual. I feel like I really should love this, but I think it's a bit too aimless, but there were some really amazing moments. I put like sound play, the sound of this thing is pretty sick, and there were some genuinely chilling points that scared the fuck out of me, but like ultimately it's just a bit too all over the place for me to really say I love the album experience or anything. Yoshi Tompkins is up next. Some fucking bangers on this thing. What is up with this? Let me just do that so I have more room for my head. But yeah, Yoshi Tompkins, man. Yeah, the features on this thing, the Ronnie J production on this thing, it's pretty fucking wild. Denzel Curry's on the track. It's just that type of shit, you know. If you like Denzel Curry, you'll probably find some shit to enjoy here. Vive la Void. This thing was musically quite stunning a lot of the time, but it just lacked much of a payoff. Like the songs that built really far and were really like huge in scope by the end didn't really pay off into anything massively fulfilling, so I hesitate to go any higher than 6. But it's a very high 6 because there were some pretty gorgeous points. But yeah, now we're into the 7s now, baby. We're into the 7s. Fuck, I messed it up again. Bam. There. No. Yeah. Okay. Got nice amount of room there, so it doesn't obscure the screen too much. But yeah, we got the new Freddie Gibbs thing that just came out. Thought I'd fuck around and just put it on this video. It's pretty hype, man. It's pretty much just sort of like Logic with the Bobby Tarantino, you know, kind of like that. Like it's like a in-between project to hold you over till the next album kind of thing, it seems to me. It's just a bunch of hype songs. But Freddie's an excellent rapper, and he picks some hard fucking beats. That second track is crazy. Yeah, Debray with 3-3. Wish the beats were a little bit more exciting, but generally it's some pretty nice boom bap, some pretty nice jazz rap, and all the features are fucking sick. So generally I enjoyed this. I would come back to it gladly. 7 out of 10. Leah Bertucci. If you like the album Never Were the Way She Was by Colin Stetson and Sarah Neufeld, you know that album? You know the one I'm talking about? Pretty fucking scary. It's a very scary album. I've always thought it's a very terrifying and intense album. Never Were the Way She Was by Colin Stetson and Sarah Neufeld. If you like that album, Leah Bertucci's new album right here, I think it's called New Ether. Imagine if Never Were the Way She Was not trying to scare you, but instead it was trying to inspire you and sound really beautiful. That's what this Leah Bertucci album is. And it was pretty lovely. Moon Gangs is up next. A few pretty just kind of empty tracks on this thing. There were some points where it just felt like nothing was really happening, but when this thing hit, it was pretty stunning. So yeah, props to Moon Gangs. Turnstile are up next. This thing, it's a little bit, I guess, uncreative musically, but bro, the just unbridled raw adrenaline of this album is just too fucking irresistible for me to say no to, man. This shit is fucking hype. So yeah, it gets a 7. Caliuchis with Isolation. Now that the sun is out in the UK, this thing grew on me big time. I love the instrumentals on this thing. Caliuchis, I'm just not really fully sold on her as a vocalist. As a singer, she's fine, but I don't really think she's all that impressive. She's not bad though. Some of the features were a bit whatever. Generally, it's cool. It's cool. I wouldn't go any further than, you know, I liked it. You know, it was a good album. It's nice for the summer. I'll probably play a few of these cuts throughout the year. It's not too bad. DJ MB with In the Tranquil Landscape did an interview for this guy and about his new album. If you want to go check that out on my channel, it's pretty cool. But this album, man, okay, my gripes with it, I think a few songs just feel a bit inessential. I think it could be trimmed a little bit, and that final track, or that final string of tracks, I wish there was some kind of thematic thread between them to link them all together, but there didn't seem to be. I would have preferred it if there was, but it's still there. So the sampling on this album is fucking wild, and I really need to commend Nolan. Bro, your approach to sampling is genuinely fucking really inventive. And that was really exciting. That's going to keep me coming back to this thing, for sure. Ravine Lene with Crush, the EP. She's a really charismatic and fun performer. Steve Lacy's bass grooves on this thing are pretty stellar. Yeah, I enjoyed this EP, man. I wouldn't call it amazing or anything. It's just a really nice, it's pretty safe, fun, funky, groovy EP. I had fun with it. Thought it was pretty nice. Next up from there, it's Video Age with Pop Therapy. This, to sum it up simply, this is sort of like, okay, this album's sort of like Multi-Love by Unknown Orchestra, mixed with Mac DeMarco's This Old Dog, mixed with the genre synthwave. And it's like all those things in one album. And it's pretty fucking cool. It gets a little bit tired like halfway through, like the 80s kind of feel it has. The stick gets a little old, but still, it's consistently pretty fucking groovy. Tropical Fuckstorm with a laughing death and meat space. Vocals kind of rub me the wrong way a little bit on this album occasionally, but generally I do love how dynamic the music on this thing is. It's really quite hypnotizing all the time. The lyrics are fucking mental. So yeah, generally I would recommend this, but I wouldn't say I loved it, because again, the vocals weren't really 100% always there for me, but I want to spend some more time with it though. I think it's pretty sick. Black Milk with Fever, I think is a better producer than he is a rapper, but still his rapping is more than serviceable on this album. He's a solid MC. And yeah, the beats in this thing are chill as hell. Fucking groovy shit. So yeah, not bad at all. Courtney Barnett, I actually really enjoyed this. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it had more staying power than her debut did. Her debut was kind of cute and charming, but it just felt a bit too directionless and aimless. This album has way more of a focus on just grooves, being catchy, songs that stick with you, that you can replay. Has a really brilliant flow to it as well. The way it kicks off with that opening track is brilliant. I love that opening track. And even if the songwriting isn't quite as like charming and compelling as it was on the debut, I still think that quaint, kind of quiet, timid nature she has that is so appealing still holds true here. It's still a drawing point for her on this album. And I think generally the songs on this thing are just more enjoyable. So yeah, not bad. Up with a Zebra. Fucking sick electronic album, actually. This came out really recently. This is nice. Track 3. Please go listen to track 3 on this album. It is so stunning. Yeah, it's just a little bit sluggish at times. That's my only issue. Black Panther soundtrack. Reviewed this on the first episode of Sloth Winter Crest, so if you want to hear my thoughts on that, go over there. Superorganism. This thing is occasionally a bit annoying, but it's too creative for me not to have fun with it. There are some really awesome sample choices on this thing, and there are some catchy fucking grooves. But it's just occasionally a little bit grating. But it's like 33 minutes, 10 tracks. It's harmless. It's a fun time. I liked it. Rico Nasty with Nasty. This thing is so hype. What the fuck? I didn't even know who this person was going into it. I was just like, okay, I'll check it out. This shit is so fucking hard, bro. I did not expect this. It's just 36 minutes, 14 tracks. It's just da-da-da-da-da. It's fucking wild. And she's not got the best lyrics. Her lyrics are kind of basic, but like her unrivaled attitude and charisma just makes up for that completely. It's just a little bit one-dimensional, and her bars are a bit just stale. But generally, it's pretty sick. Storm O with Ear. This thing, again, pretty one-dimensional, but it is thralling. Like, it's just pretty much just like the Rico Nasty. It's pretty tight, one note, just constant like constant just rage. But still, it's pretty fun. The Body with I Have Fought Against It But I Can't Any Longer. Track 3 on this thing is so nightmarish, holy fuck. There are some really chilling moments on this thing. What's the word I'm looking for? It's sinister is the word I want to give it. And they really toy with some different genres too. Their incorporation with metal instrumentation and the way they kind of blend it with synthesizers at times is pretty creative. So yeah, not bad at all. Fonte with No News is Good News. Reviewed this on the last episode of Sloth Winter Crest. If you want to hear my full thoughts, please go over there. Sleep with the Sciences. Admittedly, I have not given this enough time. But the opening track was really unnecessary and just a bit of a bad tone setter to me. But generally, this thing is quite a psychedelic and moving journey that I would recommend, but I need to give it some more time, so we'll see how that turns out in the future. Daniel Avery, Song for Alpha. I actually recorded a review for this. I actually recorded a proper full-on review for this, but I never got around to editing it. Pretty hypnotic house music right here. I'm coming off of Drone Logic. It's not as good as Drone Logic, but I do think this album does show growth for Daniel. Unknown Orchestra with Multi-Love, man. Sex and Food. Some really quirky summer jams on this thing. It's a bit of a mess pace-wise, but like, yeah, this thing has some grooves on it that are they're just the perfect balance of just summery and happy and uplifting, but also they're really interesting. There is a character to this album that I don't think, like, Multi-Love was fun, but this feels like a really, I feel like this new album exists in its own separate lane that's a little bit more distinguishable, but that could just be me talking bullshit. I am enjoying this though. I'm having fun with this. It's definitely getting better now that the sun is coming out, because the more summary cuts like How Many Zeros and Honeybee and Ministry of Alienation, they're really starting to shine, and I'm getting a lot of play out of me recently, so yeah, not bad at all. Trouble with Edgewood. All this album needs is to be trimmed down a little bit. Get rid of that song with Drake, because that beat was just awkward, and why the fuck would you have Drake on the weirdest, most clunky beat like that? You would think Drake would be featured on the most commercial sounding song, but I guess not. But yeah, still, this is a sick trap album. Michael made it, you killed these fucking beats, and Trouble's a legitimately good rapper. Like, it's really refreshing to hear a trap album featuring a rapper who was legitimately like sick at rapping. So yeah, this was a really cool trap album. I just wish it was trimmed a little bit, and that Drake song was just shit. Against All Logic, reviewed this on Sloth Window Crest, episode 2. If you want my full thoughts, go over there. Just, yeah, cool. Jamie Isaac is up next with 430 Idler. I just wish this album had a little bit more of a character. He's a good singer. I just think he sounds a little bit faceless. And there is a bit of a James Blake influence too, quite a heavy James Blake, especially on that final track. That final song on this album was like the self-titled James Blake album, like to a fucking T. Like that bit was awesome. It was such a great song, but like, yeah, it was very clearly like James Blake's first album. Like, if you like James Blake's first album, you might find some stuff to like here. The piano on the title track too, fucking hell. Like this whole album sounds really lovely. It just lacks much of a distinct character. That's it. But it sounds great. Screaming Females with All at Once. Not giving this enough time, but I really see myself coming around to it a lot in the future. It's like 14 tracks, it's pretty consistent, like 50-something minutes, it's pretty catchy, but I've not really given it anywhere near enough time to fully solidify my thoughts, but for now I'm just going to play it safe, give it a high 7. I see it growing on me though if I give it more time, so I'll definitely keep this album in the back of my head, like come back to this album, I'll remember that, and we'll see how it develops from there. But yeah, Drinks with Hippolyte, really quirky album right here. It's really interesting. I mean, musically it's pretty safe, but just the vocals, the lyrics, the tone of these songs, it's pretty interesting. Kind of snuck up on me a little bit, because on the surface it seems like a pretty standard rock album, but like, yeah, I was just doing chores while I just threw this album on, and it was creeping up on me. So hey, I would recommend this. Georgia Smith with Lost and Found. She's an incredible singer, and the production of this thing is pretty fucking gorgeous too. I just wish it wasn't as by the numbers as it was musically. It's pretty commercial. You've heard shit like this before. It's nothing super exciting really in that regard, but it all sounds lovely. It all consistently sounds very gorgeous and pretty and heavenly. So yeah, I can't fault it too much. And Blue Lights is such a fucking gem. Mian, or Mayan, I'm not sure how you pronounce this, self-titled. This is one of the most fucking psychedelic and mesmerizing rock albums I've heard all fucking year. Super overlooked. Don't miss this. This shit is cool. And that's the last 7 out of 10. That's the highest of the 7s. Moving on to 8 out of 10s. This is all the fucking awesome shit that I've loved throughout the year. Let's fucking go. Okay, so starting us off, we have The Soft Moon with Criminal. This thing is a fucking what the fuck? This thing is a rampagingly aggressive industrial rock album on the Sacred Bones label that is fucking pummeling, and the lyrics are crushing. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I think it's fucking dope. Leon Vinehall's up next with Nothing Is Still. I love how this album does such a good job at creating such a potent and thick atmosphere that you just get completely enveloped in. But then out of nowhere, he just fucks around and just busts out this awesome, irresistible groove. And like, this dude has got versatility. And this whole thing has a really kind of like cloudy, immersive tone to it from beginning to end that I just really can't get enough of. So yeah, great electronic album. Mike with Renaissance Man. This dude's approach to rap music is so fucking interesting. I really wish more people knew about this guy, Mike. He had a really sick album last year called May God Bless Your Hustle. It made my year-end list, I believe, like in the 40s and like very far back on the list, but he made the list regardless. And yeah, he has just such a fucking interesting take. Or like his beat choices are just so fucking weird, and I really find it quite alluring. So yeah, check out this album. It's like 33 minutes. It is quite an idiosyncratic rap album that I think is really hypnotizing. So yeah, check it out. Nadine with Oh My, one of the most adorable fucking albums I've heard all year. Lead singer sounds lovely. All the instrumentals are just so fucking just groovy and cute. Like everything about this album is just fucking cute. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Anna von Hauswolf with Dead Magic. Holy fucking shit, this thing is terrifying. and I love it. And that opening track inspires me every time. By the time it's done, I'm just like ready to climb Mount Everest. It's great. Next up, I have Shrem, the first disc, 8 out of 10. I don't give a fuck. Shrem is fire. Not one bad song on the first disc. It is just fucking heat. It's everything I wanted from this triple disc. Like literally, I just wanted a good handful of bangers, and that is what disc 1 was for me. It was just hit after hit. Only track I'm a little iffy on is Perplexing Pegasus. Meekness with Loud Patterns is up next. Really sick house album, really summery and cheerful house album that I do recommend. Just going on a walk in the sun and listening to this album, it's a fun time. I've done it and I recommend it. Quelle Chris and Jean Grey with Everything's Fine. So much chemistry between these guys, man. This is one of the most, this is what I'm saying, like earlier in this video, I'm saying, oh, this album was very characterless, or this album was very faceless. This album is the complete opposite of that. There is such a distinct character to everything about this album, and I just can't get enough of it. The beats are just so quirky and fun. Occasionally they don't really fully hit for me, like on the song House Cool. Couldn't get behind that beat personally, but when this thing hits, it is just, oh my god. And Your Old Droog, that verse on A Scoop of Dirt is fucking brilliant. All the verses are just great. Jean Grey is an amazing artist. Jesus Christ, I've been sleeping on her. And Quelle Chris, of course, he's fun. So yeah, great album, loved it. Ty Segall with Freedom's Goblin. Thanks again, Josh, for hooking me up with this one. It is now on streaming services though, so I will no longer need the link you provided me, but I do appreciate it. Freedom's Goblin, man. 19 tracks of bafflingly consistent garage rock. Really, really wild song topics on this album too, and some irresistible grooves, and that final track is a fucking odyssey. Jesus Christ. Mount Eerie is up next with Now Only. A pretty gorgeous album, not quite as crushingly sad as A Crow Looked at Me, but still really quite poignant. And musically, it's way more fruitful than A Crow Looked at Me. Because I mean, I hate to critique. I really fucking feel awkward critiquing A Crow Looked at Me because it's like, I feel awkward placing like a number on it and like giving it flaws. Like it's just him just getting all this fucking painful shit off his chest, and it's beautiful. I feel awkward just saying, oh, the instrumental could have been better. Like it feels like I feel like a dick saying that about like A Crow Looked at Me. But I guess okay, yeah, like on Now Only, the instrumentals are really beautiful and way more nuanced and a lot more easy to revisit than they were on A Crow Looked at Me, in my opinion. Especially the song Earth. That song is, holy shit, the ending of that song is fucking amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think I like this more than A Crow Looked at Me, but then again, how can you like A Crow Looked at Me? I mean, in the sense that you can't enjoy it. It's just so harrowing. But yeah, it feels weird, like, just putting, like, I feel awkward just putting a score on shit like this, because it feels like it's just, I guess, I don't know, like, cheapening it to something or whatever. I don't fucking know. But yeah, still, though, loved this album. Loved Now Only. Thought it was great. Wyoke with The Louder I Cool, The Faster It Runs. A really colourful, vibrant, and illustrious indie rock, alt rock album with some amazing vocal performances from the lead singer. I wish I knew her name, but unfortunately, I'm a fucking dickhead, so yeah, I don't know her name. But she is stunning all over this album. Yeah, it's pretty short too, it's pretty concise, it's just fucking beautiful. Love this thing. August Green. Oh my fucking god, the beats on this thing are so good. I love the beats. They're quite quiet. They're quite low key, but just the smooth, jazzy, just vulnerable feel of it all just fucking hits me, man. And Common's rapping on this thing is brilliant. On the song Practice, that first verse he has on Practice, just, oh my god. And the hooks on this thing are great too, especially on Black Kennedy. Love the hook on that song. Yeah, there's such a brilliantly somber and melancholy feel to all of this that just fucking envelops me. It's a great album. Twin Fantasy by Cassie Headrest. Brilliant revision of the original Twin Fantasy on Bandcamp. He's re-recorded it and remastered it and whatnot, and it sounds lovely. It's really fucking awesome. There are some brilliantly powerful and vulnerable moments of self-awareness and self-doubt that I could really relate to. The only song I don't enjoy would be Nervous Young and Humans. I don't like that song at all. I think the groove is really obnoxious, and that spoken word bit was just corny. And some of the tracks nearer to the end felt a little bit like they lacked too much of a massively fulfilling payoff, but still, great album. Love the lyricism. Love all the writing on this thing. All the writing is just fucking brilliant. Saying lyricism makes it sound like, I felt like that's something that you would typically say with like a hip hop album or something. It felt awkward. I don't know, but the writing on this thing was really great. Alicia Crampton is up next. Shout out to Rick for telling Josh about it, who then told me, but it all originated from Rick, so hey, Gotta thank Rick on this one. But yeah, this thing is fucking crazy. This shit was wild as fuck, and I loved every second. I can't wait to just peel the layers back with further subsequent listens. But yeah, this shit was fucking mental. That's all I'm gonna say. Just go listen to this thing. This shit is mental. And I loved it. The Voids with Virtue. Really fucking brilliant psych rock odyssey right here. 15 tracks, I believe. And yeah, it never gets boring once. It's just filled, just brimming with just fun ideas. Saba with Care For Me. Reviewed this on Sloth Winter Crest episode 4. I'm actually really proud of that review. That was really fun, talking about Care For Me. If you are curious to hear my full in-depth thoughts, then please go over there. Mark Kozlek with motherfucking self-titled. The storytelling on this thing is just so lovely. It puts me at ease, man. Like, if I'm ever feeling like demotivated or stressed, I'll just throw on Sublime or fucking My Love For You Is Undying, and I'll just get like lost in the world of Mark Kozlek's brain. So engrossing what he's saying, and the way he words it, it all feels so deeply rooted in emotion. And yeah, man, instrumentally this thing is gorgeous too. So yeah, great fucking album. Fourth Wanderers with their self-titled, replayed it a ridiculous amount since I first discovered it. It's all the right beats of just catchy and personal and heartfelt. And I love the lead vocalist from this band. Next up is Ananon with Tongue. Okay, I'm not fucking kidding, bro. I'm not fucking kidding when I tell you this album is stunning. Like, musically, it's just like, seriously, just listening to this whole thing is such a fucking majestic journey. Like, the title track on this thing is gorgeous. The piano fucking line, the fast-paced, like, sporadic, like, bustling piano lines he just comes up with in this thing are just so hypnotic and just, like, dizzying. The ending of the third track, Mansana, is really gorgeous too. The way this album flows, it is just so fucking gorgeous. And that brings us to the final album, the final one, Kimbra with Primal Heart. Yeah, however, I did also review this one on Sloth Winter Crest, so I'm not going to bother going into all that again. If you want to know why I love this album to death, then please go to episode 5 of Sloth Winter Crest. But there you go, those are all of the albums I have reviewed, or have not reviewed, sorry, this year. Yeah, literally, I think that is everything. I skimmed through albumoftheyear.org, I skimmed through fucking every YouTube reviewer, critic, like all of their uploads. I went head to fucking toe from releases this year. I'm fucking sure I missed nothing. Yeah, so if you want to recommend me an album or something, you now know what I have heard this year and what I have not heard this year. Literally, that's everything I've listened to this year. So, I need to get around to Nico Case and Natalie Prass and Park Jiha and all those other albums that are apparently pretty good. So yeah, there you go. That's me caught up 100% for the year. I'll probably do another one of these at the end of the year just to keep me 100% fully caught up and everything. But yeah, if you actually watch this whole thing, you're the greatest, and I'll see you later. Bye!